Welcome everybody to our Live Masters TV Showcase Special Edition. It's been a while since we've had a special event. I'm super excited tonight. We have some incredible information that I learned about 2.5 years ago. And these incredible humans you see, Angela and Ryan here, are my special guests. They're going to talk about your genes, what's in your genes, and what can you do about them. I've had an amazing health transformation, and Angela's had one, and Ryan's been enlightened, and he's going to share everything that he's learned, or not everything he's learned, because we'd probably be here all night. But he's going to give you a 10,000-foot view of how important it is to know what you inherited from your parents and how you can take action and make lifestyle changes to be healthy. So the first person I want to introduce you to is an incredible woman that I've never actually met in person. I've known her for, I think going on over 2 years now. She's in Atlanta, Georgia. She's an amazing mom and wife, and I've had the pleasure to get to know her and be a really good friend of hers. So Angela is going to introduce Ryan here in a couple seconds, but I want Angela to share what she's learned about her genes and how she's made lifestyle changes, and then we're going to get to our special guest, Ryan. So Angela, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thanks, Mike. So yeah, I met Mike in 2019, and I was introduced to nutrigenomics and epigenetics. I've always been very passionate. Well, not always, but for the past like 5-6 years, I was very passionate about holistic health. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was sick and tired of taking medicine to get over sinus infections, and I just wanted to feel better. And someone turned me on to epigenetics, which was like Greek to me. It's something that's been around for 25 years. Very interesting story tie-in to that is my son's going to be 25. And all of the health issues I could have avoided if only they had done this kind of studying 25 years prior to that. So when I was in my 20s, I would have been a healthier woman. So I really want to share this information with people and push it forward. And I met Ryan at a program that they were introducing for a company that we were introduced to that worked with epigenetics and nutrigenomics. And I met him in November of 2019, and I've loved him ever since. He almost could be my son. I would have had to be like 16 when I had him, but he's just a wonderful guy. He has a very charismatic spirit, and he has so much knowledge. I'm jealous of all the knowledge he has. So he helped give me an education on what is it, ascorbic acid and certain ingredients in my supplements, why they're good or not good for me. So I was very grateful to meet Ryan. Ryan Marl is in, where are you in? He's in Michigan. So he's on the East Coast like me, because Chavez is on the freaking West Coast, and we can never connect at the same time for 3 hours away. So it's late for us, but Ryan, please take it away. Share with them what you know and what you've shared with me that has helped me so much.
All right, well, thank you for having me on tonight. Thanks for the introduction. I really appreciate that. So my story is I've been an athlete my entire life. Like when I was young, I played sports all the time, 3 sports at a time. My parents had 3 kids that all played sports, and they would just run us around like crazy. Travel soccer, all-star baseball, travel hockey, just everything. And so as I've aged, when I got to my 30s, I was playing softball 5 nights a week, and I couldn't walk. Like I could barely get out of bed in the morning without falling on my face. So I knew that I had to make some changes if I wanted to continue to play sports and start taking care of my body a little bit better. So I started looking around. I came across a nutritional supplement, and I felt pretty good on it. And I started researching a lot, though, because I'm a super big nerd. And so I would research all these ingredients, and people were telling me this is premium grade nutrition. And I'm looking at the ingredients, and I'm like, that's not premium grade. And they'd say, oh, this is all natural. And I'm like, these ingredients aren't all natural. So like, I just started like asking questions, and the leadership would say, just tell people you feel good. You don't need to know that stuff. Just tell people you feel good. And that's not enough for me. Like if I'm going to, put my name behind something, I want to make sure that it's the right thing. So I started looking for something different. And about 2 years after I joined that company, I came across someone posting about having your nutrition made for you based on your DNA. And I'm like, there's no way this is even legit. Like I would have heard about this. Like I've been in athletics my whole life. I would have heard from someone about this. And so I started researching nutrigenomics, and I literally went down this rabbit hole where I couldn't stop reading about it. So I spent about 60 hours in 10 days from the time I get up in the morning till, whenever I had a free second, reading about nutrigenomics and how it affects, how our genes express. And because everyone thinks, I was born with these gene deficiencies. Thanks, mom and dad. And there's nothing I can do about them. But what most people don't know is that genes, even though your DNA never changes, your genetics can express or that turn on and off based on your lifestyle and your environment. So what I was finding is that if the better stuff you put in your body, the more likely you're going to prevent these genes from switching on in a negative way. So they kind of work like a light switch with a dimmer, where they can express a little bit or they can express a lot. They can turn on, they can turn off. So you want to make sure you're putting the right things in your body for you to supplement or to, what's the word I'm looking for, to promote or protect these deficiencies in your genes, these foundational cracks. So a personal friend of mine would always say, genetics loads the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. So I just went in this whole thing, and I've spent the last 2.5 years just researching genetics to where I've had multiple people in the medical industry ask me, are you a doctor? And I'm like, no, I'm a carpet cleaner. So it's it's really funny because they literally, I can have a conversation with a doctor for hours on end, and they just think that I'm super credible, and it's really cool. So I spend most of my time driving around and listening to all these different books on genetics, like the Obesity Code and Deep Nutrition and Super Genes and An Elegant Defense. And they all have to do with genetics and lifestyle and how your immune system works. And it's fascinating, especially in this day and age with all the stuff we've been going through, learning about how your body can defend itself. It's absolutely just blows my mind. So that's kind of my story and who I am.
Wow, that's awesome, Ryan. Now, speaking of your immune system and the unique times that we've been dealing with for the last 1.5 years now, how much of our genetic inheritance, what we inherit in our genes, affects our immune system?
A lot, and especially when it comes to the things that we've been dealing with now. I mean, C-reactive protein levels and interleukin-6 levels are two things that I was reading an article from Dr. Josh Farkas from the University of Vermont Medical Center, and he's published reports basically since the beginning of the pandemic that had to do with the things that they've seen in their hospital, in their ER. And he said the one main thing they've seen between people that were living and people that were dying from COVID were their levels of C-reactive protein and interleukin-6. So those are both gene deficiencies that I have that I've inherited from one of my parents. So I have it, they call it heterozygous. So I have that from one of my parents, which means I'm predisposed to having elevated levels of C-reactive protein. So I know I can make some decisions to keep my CRP levels in check, like stay away from fattier meats, like eat more lean meats, stay away from things that are inflammatory, like dairy and things like that. So you can make decisions based on what you learn in these reports. And I have now gotten information, I think, on 73 of my genetic SNPs that have to do with skin and health and caffeine metabolization and blood pressure and free radical defense and oxidative stress support and all these different things that affect how my body works. So it's just been a really cool journey to be able to learn about my body. So I tell people I know more about my body than almost any other human on the planet knows about theirs. And I think that's pretty cool.
Especially because you study it. Because one thing that always intrigued me about you is the knowledge that you have about the different gene SNPs that are tested for, the really heavy hitter ones. Can you go over, there's one that's a big buzzword out there, it's the MTHFR, mother effer gene. That one's a really big one. It has a lot of implications for different situations.
That's probably the most known gene that's out there. Like even people that don't know much about genetics, most of them have heard about the MTHFR. And it's one that I'm probably the most passionate about because all of our food, or a lot of our foods that aren't organic, are enriched with folic acid, like our breads and pastas and cereals and all that stuff. And what they're finding is that they started enriching them with folic acid because of like pregnant women. It's good for, I think, brain development in children if it can be processed and converted. But we're finding that about 43% of society cannot methylate folic acid and convert it into the usable form of 5-methyltetrahydrofolate. There's like 7 processes that have to happen to convert it to the 5-methyltetrahydrofolate. So if you don't convert it, it just takes a protein carrier to your cell wall and coats your cell wall with folic acid and prevents the folate from your diet from getting in and any other natural B9 vitamin, leaving you with a B9 deficiency, which can lead to coronary heart disease, high risk of stroke, depression, mood swings, miscarriages, pre-existing cancer cell stimulation, all these adverse effects based on something they're putting into our food because they think it's good. Actually, my girlfriend just went to the doctor the other day and they were talking about, oh, maybe you should get on a multivitamin. You know, like we're getting older and I think eventually we're going to want to have kids and stuff. And they said, well, just in case, you might want to be on a multivitamin because of the folic acid. And I was like, did you give them a lesson? And she said, no, but she goes, I was glad that you were there. But that's what doctors are doing. Doctors are even prescribing it to pregnant women and they don't even know. They don't even understand this.
I was going to say that, like I said earlier, if only I'd known this 25 years ago, because I was 31 when my son was born. He was born 3 weeks after I turned 31. And I had one miscarriage that I knew about before that. And what did I always take? Folic acid induced, they called them prenatal vitamins, prenatal supplements. And doctors prescribe those to us women. And so what we know now is so life-changing. And that's, like I said, why I want to share it with the world. I want people to know what you can avoid. And then you said about mood swings. Oh my gosh, did I have mood swings? And I have MTHFR, both of them are yellow. And MTRR also relates to that because it's homocysteine healthy heart, also something to do with the B vitamins. And let me just tell you, when I went without my supplement for a little while, I had brain fog, I had more anxiety, and I was a little bit more moody. My husband noticed it. I looked at my supplement fact sheet. I get 42,000% of the right form of vitamin B12. How do you know what the right form is? Do you know the concept of that? I don't even understand it. Mine's methylcobalamin.
Yeah, methylcobalamin. And that's the thing is, so you have cyanocobalamin. There's multiple B12, but the ones you see the most, like if you're looking at energy drinks or 5-hour energies or anything like that, is going to be cyanocobalamin. It actually has a cyanide atom, I believe is what it is, attached to it, or molecule or whatever. And so it's not really that good for you. And they say it's safe in small doses or whatever, but that's what you see in every generic energy drink is cyanocobalamin. And it's a synthetic form of B12. And so we use the methylated form of B12, and that's a lot more bioavailable. It actually doesn't absorb quite as well as cyanocobalamin, but it's more bioavailable. And that's the thing that people, absorption. You want it to be bioavailable. If you're absorbing it, it doesn't work with your body, it doesn't really matter. So we use a form that's going to be most absorbable in your body, or not absorbable, bioavailable. It's going to work and carry out the biochemical processes that you want. And speaking of that MTHFR, so like I have the MTHFR in one of them. Actually, the one that's most detrimental, I have it from one parent. And then I have the MTRR in red. And so I'm predisposed to high levels of homocysteine too. So let's say I'm getting a ton of folic acid in my diet and it's causing a B9 deficiency. Homocysteine mixes with B9 and B6 and B12 to carry out other processes in the body. So if you're lacking B9, your homocysteine levels are going to stay elevated. So when you do a blood test, your homocysteine levels should be really low because it's mixing with things and going off and doing other things in your body. So that's the thing. You can look in all these different genes kind of work together. And so you can kind of compound them when you really learn about your report and what each of these genes do. You can see how one affects the other and can cause a whole chain reaction if you're not doing the right things.
I love how you understand the report so much. I read it multiple times. I want you to just read it with me and tell me exactly what to highlight and underline. Brain fog.
It was a lot more than just reading the report. Like I went out and just read as much as I could about each gene from different sources. I spent a lot of time on the National Center for Biotechnology information, like their website, and it's got a ton of just peer-reviewed articles and information on genes and just anything in the health industry realistically. So you can learn a lot about all these genes and places like that.
So the supplements are sourced from you want to get supplements that are sourced from good places, but explain the difference between synthetic versus non-synthetic supplements, because I have a lot of friends who say, yeah, I take multivitamins.
And it's not always that synthetic's bad. Synthetic can be a really good vitamin. I mean, so the difference is, does it work the same in your body? So if you have a synthetic vitamin or mineral, you want to work bioidentically in your body as the natural ingredient would. So like folic acid doesn't work bioidentically because it has to be converted in 7 different processes. So that's why we avoid that, and we go with a 5-methyl-tetrahydrofolate. I think what we use is 5-methyl-tetrahydrofolate, and it's from Quattrofolic, I think, is who provides that for us. But it's one of the highest quality versions of B9 you can get, which is awesome.
Very good. So much information and so much knowledge that you can share. Mike Chavez, since I've known you, thank you, Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Since I've known you, Mike, you've had a huge transformation. Mine is a lot slower because I have other underlying health issues. And oh, by the way, before we continue, none of us are doctors and none of us are medically trained. This is just information that we're sharing from the knowledge that we've gained in living life. So wanted to send that caveat out there. But Mike, share your health journey, because you transformed yourself in the past, I don't know, about 7 or 8 months, really a lot. Now you exercise a lot more than I know I can, because my doctors told me your adrenal glands are shot, Angela. You can't exercise that much. But share your health journey and how you've transformed yourself in the last few months.
Okay, I'm so excited that you guys are here. This is really fun. I appreciate you coming on here and spending some time, Ryan, sharing your knowledge, and Angela, asking the questions that you're asking. I can't even say those words, Ryan. Like, how long did it take you to say all them words, man? Oh, good Lord. Yeah, so back in 2018, when I originally found out about this, I had no clue about epigenetics. I didn't even know it was a thing. I was just like most people, probably just knew about ancestry. Me can tell, your relatives, or they could, find a killer from a cold case, right? That's all I really knew about DNA. And I was pretty surprised actually when I got my report originally, because I already knew my family health history, and I know there's a lot of people that they don't have that opportunity to maybe know people where they came from, or maybe they're adopted, or maybe somebody passed away and they don't know the whole story. So I already knew that both of my grandfathers had passed away of heart disease before the age of 60, real young. And when I got my report back, all of the things that I need to be concerned about, I saw right on the report. We get red. We call them reds. That means that we inherited them from both of our parents. They color code the reports, and everything led to heart health. And I was like, wow, So it really made me start to think. And it took me a while to really figure out. I was going through some other stuff that I needed to work on personally. But about with the beginning of the year, last December, we actually came out with a new report, a weight management report, and there's a protocol in there that tells you how to eat. It tells you how your customized products can actually work synergistically with the protocol, the system that they have to how to eat, when to eat. I learned about intermittent fasting, and I just started eating right. I had been plant-based, 100% plant-based for about the last year and a half, and then I just really started cleaning out my diet and eating really super clean. I haven't eaten any processed foods or anything like that. I mean, I still, once in a while, I went to Wrigley Field and had a hot dog and some beers, had to do that. But other than that, I'm pretty strict with what I eat. And I learned how I should eat, what I should eat, types of foods I should be eating, and then the types of exercises that I should be doing as well, based on my genetics. I've had so many different surgeries in my life. I've had 3 meniscus surgeries on my left knee, 2 on my right knee. Eventually had to have my left knee replaced. I had 2 spinal surgeries on my back, vertebrae fusion and a nerve surgery on my back. Got in a motorcycle accident, have a prosthetic right elbow. So, I mean, I was pretty banged up, lots of arthritis, lots of inflammation, following the SAD diet, right? The standard American diet, not eating good, not putting good things into my body. And I just learned all the stuff that I should be eating by hanging around incredible humans like Ryan and Angela over the last, couple of years of just really soaking in this information. And I just started applying it. daily, consistently. That's kind of like what I like to do when I get really passionate about something, and I got passionate about my health. And the real reason why is because I have young children, and I want to be around for them. I'm going to be 50 in October, and last November I made a crazy goal. I said, I'm going to be in the best shape of my life by my 50th birthday. And when I said that, I was about 320 pounds, 340 pounds. And now today I'm 195 pounds, the best shape of my life. And I still have some time left to get to October. So now that's why we're here, is because my next goal is to share this incredible information that's transforming people's lives with as many people as I possibly can, because I would be a horrible human if I didn't. And if you're my friend and you don't know what I'm doing besides videos every day, this is the kind of stuff that I'm doing to work on my health and learning about my body and what I should be doing. And this is information that's available to everybody. We all know that, unfortunately, we can't depend on the government to take care of our health, can we? It's a sick care system. So we have to take control of our own health, because if it's to be, it's up to me. If it's to be, it's up to you to take control of your health. Learn what the best thing out there is for you to live the most, I wouldn't say comfortable lifestyle, but the most lifestyle that you want to live, where you can do things, you can have functional health. Because we have this saying that they talk about at this company that we're involved with, that talks about the health span. You only get so much time in your life where you can really be healthy. And it's the older we get now, with the information that's out there, we can live healthier, longer quality of life, because we're not going anywhere. we're still here, and if we're making the right kind of decisions, we can have a good quality of life. So that's all I'm doing now, is just really kind of sharing what I've been able to do. And I've really figured out, if I do these certain things based on this information, I will get these results. And I can say that with this kind of passion, and it can work for other people if they do these things.
Yeah.
It worked for me. So
yeah. And for me, I don't get allergy shots anymore. My kids are transformed. My son's personality is totally different than it was when he takes his supplement. When he forgets to take his supplement, he can still be a bear like me. The mood swings still happen. There's so much science behind this. What is the buzzword that I've been hearing from a lot of naturopathic doctors now lately is biohacking. How does that relate to this? Do you guys know, Ryan or Mike? Buzzword?
I don't really know biohacking per se, but this is kind of like biohacking. I mean, you're getting your body to work the way it's supposed to based on your genes. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about it, if they're talking about like the CRISPR stuff or what they're talking about with the biohacking. But I mean, if you could definitely see where this would be kind of a version of that.
Now, I do know you can go to a medical doctor and he'll do a couple DNA SNP variant tests for you, and it could cost hundreds of dollars. And we right now have a test with a report, and it tests for it does a panel of only 18, right? The very big heavy hitter actionable SNPs, but they test for like over 600, so that you can get other reports, like you were saying, sports report and a skin report. There's a weight management report, and there's also a wellness report. My favorite is the wellness report, because that's where everything starts. If you have the FTO gene variant, guess what that one is, people? Anyone who has ever struggled with weight hates that gene variant. So it's called the fat gene, in my opinion. And so there's that one. But we have kits right now where you can get the test and a very detailed report for only $99 for a very limited time.
Yep.
So
there's something I want to say too, on top of what Mike was saying, just to add on to what he was saying, talking about like cutting out processed foods. I was reading a book called Super Genes, and they talked about how if you go to a fast food place, as soon as you consume the chemical S storm of that fast food, your C-reactive protein levels skyrocket. So people are saying, oh, well, it's too late to make changes to deal with the pandemic to make me – no, it's not. It happens immediately. And then you get people – and a lot of people think, oh, if someone's fit, they're healthy. And that's such a big misconception as well. I watch people that are fit give recommendations on pre-workouts and stuff to people all the time that has like 300 milligrams of caffeine per serving and has all this, artificial dyes and crap in it. And I'm like, do people not realize that if you don't metabolize caffeine very well, there's a gene called the CYP1A2. And if you have that gene variant, you don't metabolize caffeine very well. And that can lead to high glucose blood levels, which can lead to hardening of your blood vessels, which can cause kidney disease and stroke and heart attacks and vision loss and all these different things. But they're fit, so we're going to take their advice. And so there's so much more to being healthy than being fit. And I always tell people there's a huge difference between those two words.
Yes, so much. And when you get older, even more difference. You can feel okay, but your body is really sick. And then it hits you. Like we have a functional holistic nutritionist on our team, and she talks about this all the time, that you can be working on diseases for a period of time, and then all of a sudden, pow, and there's nothing you can do about it. Reversing what I've caused my body to have over the 56 years that I've been alive is taking me a long time. And one thing can set you back, like you said about junk food. For me, it's sugar, anything with high fructose corn syrup. Read the hidden labels. It's not just natural sugar, it's high fructose corn syrup. That stuff's deadly to me. And it comes like 2 weeks later. It causes all this inflammation in my feet and ankles, and I feel like crap. And then a week of none of that. Processed food, and you can see the difference in my face and everything. It's very weird. I never understood it, and I wish they had something like this when I was a young woman.
Yeah, you almost have to retrain your thought process, like the whole world does. I mean, right now, what do we say when someone's obese? Oh, move more, eat less, or consume or less caloric intake, more burn more calories. But it doesn't work like that. And every study shows that it doesn't, but we keep saying that at our health, our nutritionists, everyone keeps saying that. And it doesn't work. They've done studies where there's Dr. Jason Fung, he wrote the obesity code. He talks about how genetics makes up 70% of the obesity factor. So if they did a study with adopted children, and they could have an adopted child that came from obese parents that lived with the healthiest people on the planet, and they still are obese. And they're still living the same lifestyle as the healthy people, but they're still obese because it has way more to do with caloric intake than it does anything else, or it has way more to do than just that. It has so much to do with our genetic programming, the FTO gene, breaking down carbohydrates, oxidizing fat cells, sugars, all that stuff. So that's the FTO gene. People crave, their brain receptors go off when they see fatty foods. So it has way more to do with hormones. That's what I was looking for. Way more to do with hormones than it has to do with caloric intake. And so learning which brain receptor issues we have and everything, we may not have a supplement to say, hey, this is going to stop those cravings, but it's a thought process now, and you have to really work hard at it. So there's so much to do.
Well, that's really cool because there's a lot of people that have struggled with weight their whole entire life, and they think they're crazy or that they're weak because they don't have the willpower to control themselves. And, that could be a real thing, right? Because I've struggled with emotional eating most of my life, and if you're already struggling with emotional eating, it's pretty hard if you are imbalanced, right? And you're predisposed to have that, like the hormone, like you said. Now, there's other genes that they test for in there too what is the gene, Ryan, the satiation gene, where you don't ever feel full? What is that?
Melanocortin 4 receptor, that's one of them. That's the propionmelanocortin system. And so it's funny because Labradors, dogs, are notoriously known for having that gene variant. And that's why they've got the nickname Labradors and why they're highly trainable by food. I have that gene. So what it means is that I typically consume more food. I, again, have my brain receptors go off when I see crappy food. People that have that gene variant are typically bigger bodied people. I have a bigger body. I'm 245 pounds, 6'2". So it's amazing when you read these things, and it's so cool because we can make they're actionable genes. It's not like our eye color, the genes that have to do with our eye color and our hair color and stuff. These genes, you can actually make them switch on and off based on your environment. And I think that's just wicked cool.
And you're born with your genes But when you get your blood test, it's just a snapshot. So I do recommend to anybody who gets on supplements to tell them, when you're working on your genes and you're trying to repair your body of all the damage that you did of all the years, like I did, you still have to go get your blood tested. You still may be deficient in something, and you should have those levels checked, because some of the naturopathic doctors really know what to look for, and they find things that you would have never even thought about. So,
yeah. So your blood work's like what's going on in your body right now. Your DNA report basically shows you why it got to that point. So that, I think they're both very powerful tools. And if you talk to some, geneticists, they'll typically do a blood test first, then they do a DNA panel, and then they figure out a plan from there. And I think that's super important, because you want to know what's going on in your body right now. And one of the guys I met through this company, he used to be with our lab. He was talking to me today, and he said that, even if you're on this product and taking, or any super high quality nutritional supplement, if you're not leading a healthy lifestyle, you're still not going to feel good, because your cells aren't going to know what to do.
Most doctors say, yep, you can't out supplement your diet and lifestyle. You can't. You have to have the moderation and the right lifestyle to support your body too.
And it's hard. I know all this stuff. I still make a lot of mistakes in my diet, especially lately. I've been so busy. Like, I'm a busy person. I'm nonstop, and sometimes it's just convenient. And I'm like, I know this is the worst thing I could be doing, and I still do it. So I know it's hard to do. I know it's very difficult, but you just have to start making slow changes. Do something that's easy and make that change, and then continue to work. It's a work in progress. And if you try to do too much at one time, you're never going to be successful at it. So you just got to make small habits over time, become consistent habits, and that's what it's all about.
Well, in respect of our time, we've talked for 45 minutes. What can we leave everybody with? Like the most important thing that you can think about with epigenetics, nutrigenomics, some really important statement. I'll think of one. Dr. Jen, someone on our scientific advisory board, always says is, you can never be 100% 100% of the time.
Yeah, I like the unless you test, it's just a guess. But I also like the thought process of be very careful what you allow in your life, whether it's relationships, because those are things that can cause your genes to express. Poor relationships. If someone, our old CEOs used to say, if someone comes and walks in the room and you don't feel good, it makes you feel bad, cut them out of your life, because it's not doing anything good for you. So keep those relationships, keep positive relationships in your life. And that's what I've really learned to do over the last few years. If someone doesn't make me feel good about myself, they're not welcome. Because I know who I am and I know what I deserve. And so I think people got to get to that point mentally to realize, hey, I deserve better things in my life. So cut out bad relationships. Be better with your money, so that's not a stress. Stresses cause a lot of issues with your genetics. Stay away from pollutants. When you learn your genetics, you know some things. Like I struggle with my liver struggles detoxifying, so I can eliminate some bad habits, and I keep some of my bad habits still, but I try to eliminate as many as I can. So I think that's what you got to do. You just got to do things that make you feel good and that are healthy for you to continue to feel your best every day.
If you don't test, it's just a guess. Mike, you got any closing words?
I mean, yeah. Well, getting this information is great. But what's really cool about what we're doing is giving people the support to take action on this, not just get a report or just take a supplement. There's resources available with knowledge where you can actually put the pieces together and make the puzzle look the way it's supposed to look. Like, you know what? I really have figured out my body and how it's supposed to work. And Ryan was like saying how he likes to geek out on that kind of stuff, and he knows more about his body probably than most people do. And I don't understand the science as clearly as he does, but I do know that applying some of the basics that I've applied, I've had incredible results. And that's just a testament to let you know that you don't have to be a scientist or sound like one, like Ryan, or an epigeneticist expert to get results. All you have to do is apply some simple things on a consistent basis, and you can get amazing results from applying the information, because they say knowledge is power, but it's not truly. Knowledge is not power. It's taking action on the knowledge that you have. Then that's where the power is, and that's where the results are. And there's nothing speaks louder than results. And I'm so super excited to have them. You know, for the first time in my life, I feel this way, which is amazing.
Yep. Next time, what we need to do is have your before and after picture. There's one of my daughter too. Her transformation has been huge, and I notice it in my face. But I wish I would have taken like pictures of me when I first started on the supplements versus now how I am now. 2 years later, I notice it.
Well, it's too. It's more not just the weight. We say, "Oh, you lost so much weight." I lost weight, but I gained so much knowledge and wisdom and youth and clarity, no brain fog, to be able to talk and think. And you know what's really crazy? My memory is starting to come back. I'm starting to remember things that I'm like, how do I remember that? How do I remember that? How do I remember this name? How do I remember that? And the cleaner that you eat and the cleaner things that you put in your body, the clearer you're going to be able to think and process and deal
cleaning the cobwebs out of your brain.
So true. I'm reading so much, and I listen to a lot of YouTube stuff, and Dr. Joe Dispenza is amazing, right? He's got an incredible story of how he uses his mind to help express his genes, because you know, when you swallow your problems, your stomach keeps score, and your body processes stress. And when you're not even conscious of it, right? You could be a positive person and you can just be a happy-go-lucky person. But if you're around the wrong kind of people, like Ryan was mentioning, your body's going to process that stress, and it's going to all come to a head somewhere. It all has to come out somehow. So anyways, it's really good stuff that we get to learn about. I'm just over the moon excited to share it with people. So if anybody wants more information, get back to any of the three of us. We're more than happy to share more about all this cool stuff that we've learned over the last couple of years of doing this. What do you guys think? It was pretty good, right? You guys did amazing.
Thank you. And put in a last plug, Ryan. I think you have a few kits on hand that are at a discount just for a very short time, because the company revamped. They found the value in the reports that we share. So we would love to share those with you. If you're interested in learning more, reach out to Ryan or I. We have a few of those kits left. So thank you, Mike, for hosting this, and thank you for having us on. And Ryan, so appreciate you. I can't wait to give you guys hugs around the real necks, you know? No more of these cyber hugs.
Well, I met Ryan in person a couple times.
You have too. You're the only one I've never met. I met Ryan in person, and you met Ryan in person, but I've never met you in person. So
well, you kind of met me in person through Ryan, because I met Ryan in person, and you met Ryan in person. So
yeah, that's how it works.
All right, guys, thanks for watching this video, guys. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Again, Ryan and Angela, thanks for stopping by and sharing your stuff with us. As you guys